The story of Israel begins not with a nation, but with a promise and a family. God made a foundational promise to the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. This divine word set the stage for everything that would follow. God told Abraham, "I will make of you a great nation. I will make your offspring as the dust of the earth." Genesis 12:2, Genesis 13:16. This was a promise of immense, almost unimaginable demographic growth. It was a future spoken into existence when Abraham and his wife Sarah were childless and old. The promise was the engine of Israel's future story, a divine commitment to multiplication. This promise was passed down through the generations, reaffirmed to Isaac and then to his son Jacob. Jacob, whose name was later changed to Israel, became the direct ancestor of the nation's 12 tribes. They were a vulnerable group in search of food and refuge in the mighty empire of Egypt. The size of Jacob's family when they entered Egypt is explicitly stated in the biblical text. Genesis 46:27 records, "All the persons of the house of Jacob who came into Egypt were 70. This number is small and specific. It represents the entire clan, including Jacob's sons, his grandsons, and their households. This figure of 70 people is a crucial starting point. It provides a baseline from which to measure the incredible growth that would occur over the next several centuries. The journey was a move of land and a transition from a small family to the brink of nationhood under God's ancient promise. The narrative establishes a clear tension. On one hand, the divine promise of countless descendants. On the other, a small clan of 70 people entering a foreign land. How could this tiny group become as numerous as the stars or the dust of the earth? The answer lies in the events that unfolded in Egypt. The biblical texts trace their multiplication, rooted in divine blessing and the social structures of the time, including the common practice of polygamy. Polygamy, the practice of a man having more than one wife, was a widespread cultural norm in the ancient Near East. It appears early and prominently in the stories of the patriarchs. While Abraham had a son with his wife's handmaid, Hagar, it was in the household of Jacob that polygamy became a central engine for family growth. He was tricked into marrying Leah first, then also married Rachel. The result? A household with two sister wives. Rivalry marked Genesis 29-30. Leah, feeling unloved, was blessed with fertility. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah. Rachel, barren, gave her handmaid Bilhah as wife and proxy. Bilhah bore Dan and Naphtali. Leah gave Zilpah to Jacob. Zilpah bore Gad and Asher. Later, Leah bore Issachar, Zebulun, and Dinah. God remembered Rachel, Joseph, and later, Benjamin. Jacob's household, with its 4 matriarchs, Leah, Rachel, Bilhah, Zilpah, produced 12 sons. These 12 sons became the eponymous ancestors of the 12 tribes of Israel. Without polygamy, the family would have been significantly smaller, 2 from Rachel, 6 from Leah, but through 2 wives and 2 handmaids, 12 sons. This cultural pattern directly contributed to fulfilling God's promise of many descendants. The connection between polygamy and population growth is a matter of simple arithmetic. In a world of high infant mortality, famine, and disease, many children meant survival and success. Each wife represented additional childbearing potential. Multiple women collectively produce many more offspring. The more wives a man had, the faster his lineage could expand. This was common among the powerful across the region: kings, chieftains, wealthy men. For a clan leader like Jacob, many sons meant hands for flocks, strength for defense, and a base for prosperity. Children were economic assets and security in old age. The story in Genesis 30 illustrates this urgency. The story of Israel's growth cannot be understood without Joseph, a dramatic tale of betrayal, suffering, and ultimate exaltation. Sold into slavery, he was taken down to Egypt, rising from slave to prisoner to the second most powerful man. Appointed by Pharaoh, he oversaw storage for a 7-year famine. When famine struck, Jacob sent 10 sons to buy grain. After testing their remorse, Joseph revealed his identity in an emotional reunion. He said, "It was not you who sent me here, but God." Genesis 45:8. Joseph arranged relocation. Pharaoh said, "Let them dwell in Goshen." Genesis 47:6. The move was pivotal, out of famine-stricken Canaan into a protected, prosperous environment. 70 persons, honored guests under Joseph's protection, the perfect incubator for growth. They had land, resources, security, and favor. In Goshen, the seed of the 70 began to multiply, just as God had promised. Once settled in the land of Goshen, Jacob's family began to experience dramatic growth. After listing the sons who came to Egypt, the text declares, "But the people of Israel were fruitful and increased greatly. They multiplied and grew exceedingly strong, so that the land was filled with them." Exodus 1:1-7. Ideal conditions, cultural separateness, and peaceful generations allowed families to flourish. High birth rates and relatively low death rates produced exponential growth over centuries. While the text doesn't insist polygamy continued broadly, the precedent was set, and large families were seen as divine blessing. A family of 12 sons could become hundreds in 2 generations, and thousands in a few more. The transformation from 70 to a multitude filled the land, a fulfillment of God's promise to Abraham. The family had become a people, a formidable presence within Egypt. Section 6. A nation's fear, Egypt's reaction to Israel's numbers. Now there arose a new king over Egypt who did not know Joseph. Exodus 1:8. He saw a rapidly growing foreign population, a perceived security threat. "Behold, the people of Israel are too many and too mighty for us. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them." Exodus 1:9-10. They enslaved Israel to crush spirits and slow growth, building Pithom and Ramses. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied, and the Egyptians were in dread. Exodus 1:12. Pharaoh ordered midwives Shiphrah and Puah to kill the males. They feared God and refused. Then came the brutal decree, "Every son that is born to the Hebrews you shall cast into the Nile." Exodus 1:22. A nation numerous faced an existential threat. Law and order. Moses regulates a complex society. The law formed a comprehensive moral code. Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. It addressed worship, ritual purity, civil disputes, criminal justice, and crucially, family life, marriage, and inheritance. The law did not command nor forbid polygamy. It acknowledged it and set rules to mitigate injustice. Ancient codes regulate customs. The Mosaic Law ensured fairness for wives and children in rivalrous homes. These regulations were not an endorsement of an ideal. Genesis 2 points to monogamy, but a practical, compassionate response. Law moved custom into covenantal justice, holding tribes together en route to the promised land. One direct law addresses a man with 2 wives, one loved, one unloved. Deuteronomy 21:15-17. The law prevents injustice. The firstborn of the unloved wife receives the double portion. Birthright is protected from favoritism. Levirate marriage required marrying a childless widow to build the brother's house and provide for her. It preserved lineage and property for clan stability and growth. Laws on divorce, vows, and sexual misconduct formed a safety net for women and children. Narrative cautions show the pain of rivalry. The law's approach was pragmatic. It ensured justice, inheritance rights, and protection for the vulnerable, vital for a large, growing nation. God's blessing, human practice, national identity. The Old Testament presents how Jacob's small family grew into a nation during their sojourn in Egypt. At the heart stands God's promise, population growth as direct fulfillment and sign of blessing. A demonstration of God's faithfulness to his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Cultural practice, polygamy, was a key mechanism for rapid growth. 12 sons from 4 mothers founded the tribes. Favor in Goshen, oppression under Pharaoh, yet multiplication continued by God's blessing. The law did not prohibit polygamy but regulated it, organizing family life and guarding the vulnerable. From a family of 70 to a nation of multitudes, faith, culture, and law forged Israel's identity.